Welcome back to Better Than Before. I'm Tony Richards. In this segment, I'm going to talk to you about 4 tools for communicating your ideas. One of the tools a leader really needs to master is the tool of communication. And in order to use this tool correctly and effectively, it has to be done creatively, sometimes concisely, and definitely consistently to contribute to followers' understanding and comprehension. If you misuse the communication tool, you make life harder and you add to the chaos your people already face in a busy organization and also a tough marketplace. Most of your folks honestly and sincerely want to be engaged, but when you do not utilize communication correctly, it's a catalyst for disengagement. One of the biggest mistakes leaders make is the assumption that telling them once is enough. I spent several years in the media business, and on-air talents would constantly complain of hearing songs too many times. Of course, they heard them too many times because they heard them every time. Unfortunately, by the time the on-air talent was sick of the song, the audience was just discovering the tune. You could never get tired of playing a great song, and you could never get tired of communicating a great, important, and impactful message, because when you're tired of saying it, they're probably just starting to get it. Problem is compounded when you're not consistent with your message the second or even the third time. You have to be consistent every time you sing your song to your followers. How many people are you reaching each time you communicate, and how many times have you communicated with them? These are some of the keys to good messaging. Here's 4 more tools that you can use when you're communicating your ideas to your followers. Number 1, be repetitive. The core of the idea may be ingrained in your head because you've thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, but your audience hasn't. You've been over it and over it and over it in your head, and you've clarified it and fine-tuned it each time, but you're starting from scratch with your followers. Your mission, your vision, your purpose, your values, they all get fuzzy to the average follower over even just a month's time frame. Repetition reinforces the importance of the core ideas you expect your team members to have ingrained and implement. Number 2, simplicity. Some leaders are more focused than others, and the same thing can be said for followers and direct reports. You've got to discipline yourself to transmit one strategic idea at a time to your people. You're going to have secondary and tertiary ideas you'll want them to possess, and at the same time, they can't process it all at once. Your 3rd grade teacher did not throw a bunch of arithmetic concepts at you at the same time. You learned your multiplication tables over and over and over until you could repeat them, and you probably still know them today without much thought. Staff, they get confused, they get frustrated and lost when leaders over-communicate too many things at once. Number 3, what's your sales process? Communication is primarily about selling ideas to people. In each sales transaction, it's really broken down into a series of sales transactions on the way to the closing transaction. Consider how many steps you need to insert into your process on the way to what you really want them to know, assimilate, remember, and retain. John Wooden, the noted UCLA basketball coach, always had a process for his basketball season. Every year, he started the first practice with the proper way to put on your socks and the proper way to put on your shoes. It didn't matter that most coaches assumed a junior or senior in college should know how to put on shoes and socks for basketball. He never assumed, and he always conducted the process the same way with the same details every year, so every person on the team knew what he expected and how to do it in a proper fashion. Number 4, utilize clarity as much as you can. Knock out and eliminate anything unnecessary. That means you probably are not going to just shoot from the hip. No, you surely need to practice both mentally and physically. Remember, less is more if you choose the right words. The Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln was only 2 minutes long, but it's one of the most memorable and quoted messages in world history. Get rid of anything unnecessary. Cutting your content is a discipline the best communicators use to leverage the best word pictures they can conjure rather than simply multiplying the words they use, which have no purpose, rather than to take up time.
Receive weekly coaching tips from Tony Richards, delivered straight to your inbox. Whether you're a CEO or an entrepreneur, Tony can help you reach your goals and give you a competitive edge within your industry. Tony's Monday Morning Coaching Memo covers topics ranging from leadership development to teamwork to company culture and more. Text the word leadership to 38470 to sign up for Tony's Monday Morning Coaching Memo, or sign up online at clearvisiondevelopment.com.